Hi everybody, it's Joni here. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to show you guys how to paint this beautiful cherry blossom tree in Japan. So let's jump in and get started. Okay, so we're working on a 16 by 20 canvas today that I primed with black paint. You can buy them already black from the art store, or you can just use any black paint that you have to cover an old canvas or old painting with. Make sure it's all dry first before beginning. You can use any pink that you want or that you have. This is the only pink I have right now, but this is my favorite pink. I like to use luminous neon pinks, and this is by the Holbein or Holbein brand company. It's really, really nice. I'll try to leave a link below the video in the description box. So I'm just gonna start dabbing it across the top like this. And the next color I'm gonna add is titanium white. And I'm gonna put it just right in here so that we can blend the pink in with the white and make a nice soft tone. So I'm just gonna get a little bit of water on my brush, and I'll begin softly pulling and spreading that paint back and forth. There's gonna be a lot of pink in this painting, so if you're not a pink lover, you can do this in peach. You can paint cherry blossoms in peach, purple even. Just use your imagination, pick the colors that you like. Okay, the next color I'm going to be using is ultramarine blue. If you don't have ultramarine, you can use cobalt. And I'm not washing my brush off. I'm just going to go right into that blue with a little bit of titanium white. And we're gonna have mountain right about here. We'll just bring it up into a soft peak like this. Bring it up just a little bit higher. And I'm just using a large blending brush. This is a large Filbert, it's a number 50, but you can use any large brush that you have. So I'll just keep getting both these colors, a little bit of water, and just go over that pink background and right down to the bottom. Okay, I'm going to switch over to a flat brush now. This guy right here, number 12 by Pro Stroke. Oh no, this one is actually by Royal and Langnickel. And I'm just going to pull in to my white and my blue again, a little bit more this time. Let's just get a little bit of water on there. And I'm going to start at the top using the corner of my brush and then pull across and kind of wiggle. Take a little bit more of my white this time. Very little pressure. And I'm going to continue pulling into the white, not washing my brush off, and gently, you know, you can use a palette knife for this if you want, or you can just use a brush. You can turn your brush sideways like this, just to pull down some little ridges to create this snow-capped mountain here in the distance. I'll add a little bit more white right at the top here. And it's something I'm going to have to come back to as this paint dries to be able to add a little bit more. And I'm just gonna blend out the rest of the paint that's in my brush and quickly move over to a large blending brush. Well, a round mop brush, something round and sort of soft. Go right into a little bit of water, my blue and white. Now a little bit of water, see it's not completely saturated. And we're gonna just start to twirl our brush around and make little cloud, soft cloud formations. And we're gonna make this look layered. So we wanna have some clouds kind of at the base here, the base of the mountain. And then layer in the foreground. Just overlapping and leaving some spaces in between. I'm going to go over to a smaller dry one now. Load the end of my brush with some white. And I'm just going to push up. And then let off. So I'm going to push that paint on and then just very lightly continue with those circles. I'm going to bring one of these up a little bit higher so it doesn't look like they're lines. I want to have different heights and create some movement and more flow. And I want to soften this as well. The base needs to be kind of blurry. So with the same brush, and if yours is too saturated and you can't get this very soft, blurry effect, then you might want to switch over to a dry one. I like to have a few different sizes on hand in case I need a dry one right away. Okay, so I'll put that brush aside and I'm going to take another flat brush. I'm going to pick up my blue, a little bit of white, and it's going to be a bit darker this time. And I'm going to create some shadows on this side. I'm just making this a little bit darker. Okay, now I'm going to take some more of my white. And lightly brush and pull. So we have shadows on the side, but we also have the indication of a little bit of snow, brighter areas right in here, but mainly we have the most on this side. And I'm going to go back in to my white, tint it with a little bit of this neon pink again. Very soft, almost like a cotton candy. And let's just incorporate a little bit of that pink. It's maybe just kind of glowing and filtering over on some of the peaks of this mountain. We'll do the same on this side. And then a little bit more blue right away. Just pull and drag. and then blend out softly here. And then I'm going to take a little bit more of that light pink. I'm going to start pulling it this way. Then blue and white. Then with, back to my flat brush, it's a little bit damp. I'm going to soften this. So you go all the directions, left, straight down, and then out. Take a little bit of white, light blue, pull that over. So I have a feeling that's going to dry a little bit too dark for my liking, and I want this to look soft in the background. A little bit more of my pink and white. I just want to bring this over just a little bit more. Just so that it doesn't cut right down the middle. I'm just going to put some lines in here. So this is the nice thing about painting with acrylics. You can just keep adding and layering over right away. You can change your mountain up at any time. And I can even use this brush for some more clouds. And I'm going to use the rest of my pink and some white here. I'm going to turn my brush like this, push on the corner, continuously creating circles without letting off on the brush or the canvas. And we're going to get that layered effect. So I like to do clockwise, counterclockwise. So that just changes the flow up and makes it look more natural. And then I'm going to come underneath here and do another layer. So the next two colors that we're going to use, instead of black, I'm going to take phthalo green and crimson red. These two colors are going to be a really nice, rich combination instead of using black, but if you want to use black, you can. Okay, so with my flat brush, I'm going to take red with green, make a nice, deep, dark, rich color here. And most of the top here is going to be covered in cherry blossoms, but I know I just want to have sort of a peak that goes in like that, like a triangle. So a little bit of water. And it doesn't have to be solid right in this area here. I'm not going to worry too much about that. So yeah, we can't really see what's going on back here. I know that's probably going to bug you guys. We're just going to kind of just lightly cover that up, and that way when we come over with our flowers, we're going to have this contrast because we have this dark color underneath, which will be really nice. So then we're going to come up the pointy end like that. Another one right there. And then slightly on an angle here and up. Do a line here, a line here, one underneath the other, and then finally a third one. And then it's really dark in here. Then we're going to have a little line here. A few little lines like that. I'm going to take more red this time. And I'm going to do a little rectangle here, slightly on a slant. And pull a line next to it. Just bring that up a little bit higher here on the left side. And we'll join by adding a line right here. I'm going to do a line that comes on an angle right out here. And then a little one that turns straight out this way, back to that diagonal, and then across. And this one can be thicker. And I'm going to add a little bit of my phthalo green inside here, a little bit of water just to help pull that out. And there's a few little windows here. I'm just going to add a few little lines like this too. Right here it's going to be dark, right here it's going to be dark. And like I said, these little windows in here, a bit of a lighter color. Make this one a little bit longer. We'll just bring it out a little bit wider like that. We're going to do a V and then paint that V in. Do another line. Bring this up higher now. Just going to add a little bit of a shadow right in here. And then another V. And take more red and add it across here. Brighten this up. And then just gently pull down a bunch of lines. So see how we have this diagonal line, remember, that we put here? We're going to do a smaller or a thinner one right above it. And then we'll do some lines, just using the end of our brush. I'm just going to pull this down lower because it needs to go slightly down rather than up. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of blue and just add indication of a little bit of a base down here, or the rest of this temple. Just going to do another from V here. This is mostly in shadow on this side, so I'm not worried too much about it. As I wait for this to dry a little bit, I'm just going to hop over to this side and do some more clouds. And I'm going to use one of my Filbert brushes, another large Filbert brush. This is a number 12. And before I add the clouds, I want to do another layer of blue down at the bottom. So I'm going to get a little bit of water on my brush. I'm going to take my Ultramarine blue, just sort of thin it out a little bit. And I'm just going to scumble down here on the bottom. And then go just in and around my layers of clouds. Now into my white. So see all the different brushes that you can use for creating clouds. I'm going to take a little bit more of that pink because I really do like that pink tint to my white and my clouds. I just think it's so much prettier. Bring it up higher. and then back in to a little bit of white with another dry mop brush to get that really, really soft cloud effect again, texture. And then if I need to, a little bit more pink. Okay, so now with a flat brush, and this is a number, I'm not sure, maybe an 8. It's kind of worn off now, but just a smaller or small enough flat brush that you feel comfortable with doing a little bit of detail. So I'm going to take some white with that phthalo green. Let's just tint that or tone it a little bit with that crimson red. Get a bit of water on my brush. So I'm going to go inside, flatten, kind of dry brush across like that. Almost a scoop inside. Pull across. We'll do the same thing there. And then just a few little lines to accent these little posts that connect. I'll take some red with my phthalo green and pull right over part of this line here. And then I'm going to outline. I'm going to stumble with a little bit of this minty color that I made. For the shingles, just the indication of some shingles there. And then just block in just by pushing. Got a little bit of white inside my brush. So push, tap. And then take a little bit more white this time. Maybe there's some little lanterns here. And with a clean brush, I'll take a little bit more white. And then I'm going to go dab, dab, really close together. Do another little layer down here. Just makes it a little bit fun. Okay, I'm going to go back to my red, a little bit of white. Pull across, down. We'll just block in some bright red lines in here. That will set everything else more in shadow on this side as well. I'll just lightly go over this so it's not completely dark. There'll be a few shades darker than this red. And I'll just define these lines here, these little triangles. Add a few little posts in here. Add a little block right there, or a little rectangle. Make that a little bit thicker. Another triangle. A few little lines across like that. I'm going to take a little bit of my ultramarine blue and white and come inside. Add some shadowed, darker light background back here. And then a little bit of white with my pink. A little bit more white in there. And we'll add hints of this just to brighten this up. And then go over top. So it's more gradual. And it doesn't go from pink to dark blue. And this is going to dry a little bit darker. Take just a little bit of my phthalo green. Add a bit of a shadow in there. And then a little bit of white inside of the pink. I'm going to do a fresh dab of white for the lights. Some of these are lights and some of them are maybe a little design or little windows. Okay, I've got this long liner brush. Just use any liner brush that you feel comfortable with, and I'm going to use my phthalo and my crimson red. Lots of water to help that paint flow. And I'm going to start pulling and twisting my brush. And just gently flicking off for some little branches, and then we'll come up along the side. See, I'm just twisting, rolling the brush and twisting while I'm pulling and dragging. And we're going to have some dangling down here too. And we can't really see these branches right now because they're the same color as the temple here. It doesn't really matter because we don't need to see them. This is just the placement. So we know that there's going to be some in there. If you wanted to make some of them stand out, just tint your color with a little bit of white. And you can see where they are. And that's just an idea of where to start adding some of your little flowers. Now just with that light color I made and my little flat brush, I just want to actually take a little bit of blue. Just lighten this little skinny triangle down here. Just lighten that a little bit like that. Another little block right in there. Sorry guys, I got a little sidetracked. And there's a little post right there. Just adding phthalo green for shadow underneath some of these boards. And then a little bit of red right back there. So white, crimson, and neon pink. And I'm going to be using a number 4 Filbert brush for this. Okay, and I'm going to take some of my crimson, neon pink, and a little bit of white without blending any of them up together, just a little dab of each color. And I'm just going to start pushing, and a little bit of white on there now. And we're just going to layer. So again, all 3 colors. Doesn't matter what order you put them in. Sometimes you can just pick up pink and white if you want. And we're not going to wash our brush off unless you end up going over some phthalo green somewhere and accidentally change your color up too much. So just pushing, tap. You can even do a little pull if you want. And we'll just continue and layer over as much as we want. Right, there's so many of them, and then there's going to be the odd little partial flower. Maybe there's some blooms that are just falling down here, or just little buds. So here where we have the light pink background, we're probably going to need more white, but it really works to not wash your brush off so you have all those other colors built up towards the base. See, I've got all that red back there, so when I push, it's kind of like one stroke painting. If you guys want to learn about one stroke painting, Donna Dewberry's got a YouTube channel, and I don't really do a lot of one stroke painting, but I sure enjoy watching her. She's the best. I used to watch her when she had painting lessons on TV back in the 90s, and some of her brushes are the best I've ever used, and just the material of them. I don't know if they might be synthetic. But yeah, check her out, guys. I've been meaning to mention that for a little while now. You'll learn some amazing techniques for flower painting. I really like the Filbert brush myself. It's got that perfect petal shape. And you can add as many flowers as you want. right? You can do just a few, or you can just go crazy, layering and layering. When it comes to flowers, more is better for me. More is more. I love the flowers. And bring on spring. We've got a few things blooming or blossoming right now here on the island. No cherry blossoms yet. Take a little bit more red. So you can have that bit of a darker red base and then go over if you want at any time. Some smaller dabs and really get that layered effect. And this is very impressionistic, right? So easy for any level. Whatever stage or level you are at as a painter, you can paint all of my paintings. People ask me what level, skill level is this? Well, I teach all my students, beginner or intermediate or advanced, the same lesson. You know what? You just painted at your own level. And the only way to get better at painting is by taking on something that you think is beyond your skill level. That's the only way you're going to learn and get better. You just got to get out there and do it. Push that fear aside, and you're going to be so pleased with yourself when you do. And if you're having a hard time and not happy with how it's turning out, well, you just keep going. You pick yourself up and you try it again. You try it as many times, and you're just going to keep learning that way, right? You learn from your mistakes. There's nothing you can't paint. It just takes practice. Now this painting is taking a lot of paint today because, you know, it is a 16 by 20 canvas. You can definitely do this on a smaller canvas. You can do it on a square canvas. The format will change a little bit. The perspective might change a little bit. 11 by 14, 12 by 16. But I just really wanted to do, I'm kind of into doing larger paintings lately. A few months ago when my arm was really bummed out, I've got some serious tennis elbow from just overuse over the years, just a combination of everything. I didn't want to quit filming because I love painting. It's like therapy every day for me. I love to paint. So I was just doing my painting tutorials on a smaller scale. I have a whole playlist of mini canvas paintings. So I did a lot of smaller paintings, and now that I'm feeling better, I'm ready to hit the larger canvases again. And I like switching it up. I can't say I like one size more than the other. I think it's fun to work on tiny little paintings. And then it's fun also, of course, to have more freedom with larger size of a canvas. I've done murals too. I love painting on larger, much larger scales. I'm going to have a few that come out here. With this lighter background, you're going to need more red to counteract that to make it show up better. So I'm going to come over to this side. And add some smaller ones here, lighter color. And you can be a little bit messy, right? Because there's just such a mass of them that you can be very carefree. Lots of little taps and dabs for that impressionistic layered look. Just going to add while I've got this bit of white on here. A little bit more white on the mountain. Make that stand out just a little bit more. I'll still see that pink through there a little bit. And then maybe there's some behind here in the distance. It's going to do even more impressionistic, just little tap dance here. So it's kind of soft and blurry on the other side of our temple. Pick up a little bit of our pink. A little bit of that red. And just lightly graze over. A little bit like that. I want to add red, just crimson red, right underneath here. Some hints of it back here. And I'm going to softly blend that out with a damp, clean brush. Very lightly. It'll dry darker. Just accidentally bumped into my cherry blossom there. I'm going to leave that. I like that blurry look. Having so much fun with this painting. I'm so happy I get to share this with you guys. It's nice to share things that bring you joy, isn't it? And what an awesome group we have on Facebook. You guys, I always say this, but you guys are so incredibly talented, blowing me away daily with your posts and your shares. Thank you guys for all of your support on Patreon and on the Facebook group. I'm glad you guys are enjoying my tutorials and my channel. And I'm so incredibly grateful to each and every one of you patrons that are making this possible for me to continue to do this. And if you'd like any information on how you can make a donation towards my channel and my tutorials, I'll leave a link below. Just coming in with little accents of my phthalo green. I'm gonna add a little bit more white here. Some little flowers. I'm having so much fun. I'm just gonna keep going here. I want these to be really thick. So I've got, see all that paint I've got on the tip of my brush? I want to be able to feel this once it's dry. I want to feel that texture. And I want it to just pop off the canvas. So yeah, you can come back and you can layer and just build up that depth where maybe some of them you think are just a bit too solid looking. I just love a little pop of that bright pink. Love, love, love my neon pinks. I say that plural because I do have another, it's Neon Luminous Rose it's called. And it's a little bit more of a, almost like a magenta, but in a neon. You guys have seen me if you've been following my channel. You've seen me use it quite often. So yeah, it's Luminous Rose and it's really pretty. I could have used that in this painting, I guess, but I just think it's so pretty how it is. Just gonna add a little bit of that. A little dust of that pink for part of the mountain. I'll blend this out. And I'm going to take, I'm just going to use my Filbert brush for this. A little bit of that red again. I have a few little branches. See, it doesn't take very much at all, just a little bit here and there. And we can make some of these just a little bit thicker now. Now the last thing I want to do is just go into my luminous yellow warm, and I want to add a little bit of a flicker of light. And I'm just going to be using a round brush, a little bit of white, a little bit of that luminous, and I'm going to just dab a little bit in here and then just soften. Add a little bit of that pretty glow, soft, soft glow. dab of white inside. I like that bit of green though, around there. Even though it's not the color that light would be, I just like the way that looks. I think that little bit of phthalo green or turquoisey color is very pretty with all the pink that we've got going on. And we could add just a few dabs of this light neon yellow with white, where maybe that light's going to be hitting some of these flowers. So a little bit like this. Get a nice sense of warmth and glow from these lanterns here. Okay, so I'm going to call this one all done. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. This was so much fun to paint, and I'm really glad I got to share it with all of you. Please subscribe to my channel now for more, and stay tuned for my next video. Bye, everybody.